Have you ever wondered whether one of the biggest mistakes people over 65 make is not who they refuse to help, but who they keep helping long after they should stop? At first, that question sounds uncomfortable. Most of us were taught that helping others is always a good thing. We were told that kindness is a virtue. We were taught that generosity makes the world better. And in many cases, that's true. But what if there are situations where helping someone actually harms both you and them? What if some of the stress, financial pressure, emotional exhaustion, and disappointment that millions of older Americans experience comes from giving help in the wrong places? And what if ancient wisdom understood this long before modern science caught up? Stay with me, because one of the 5 types of people we'll discuss today is so common that many seniors interact with them every single week without recognizing the hidden cost. To understand why this matters, we need to start much earlier in life, long before retirement, long before aging becomes part of the conversation. The story begins in early adulthood, when people are young. Helping others often feels simple. Friend needs support. A family member faces hardship. A neighbor asks for assistance. Helping creates connection. Connection creates trust. Trust strengthens communities. This cycle has existed throughout human history. Ancient philosophers, including Lao Tzu, often emphasized balance rather than blind action. Wisdom was not simply about doing good. It was about understanding consequences. That distinction becomes increasingly important with age, because helping someone is not always the same thing as helping them grow. And that's where the first problem begins. As we move into middle age, life becomes more complicated. The 40s bring financial responsibilities, career demands, caregiving obligations, and personal challenges. According to American health surveys, stress levels often rise significantly during these years. Most people respond by giving more time. More energy. More emotional support. At first, this feels noble, but hidden beneath that generosity is a question few people ask: who deserves continued help, and who is quietly draining your life? The answer becomes even more important after 70. Researchers studying aging populations have repeatedly found that older adults possess 2 resources that become increasingly valuable: time and energy. Unlike money, these resources can never be replaced. Once they are spent, they are gone forever. Yet many seniors continue investing them without evaluating the return. This creates a hidden risk, one that affects health, finances, relationships, and emotional well-being. And now we arrive at the first type of person we should not continue helping: the person who refuses responsibility. Notice the difference. Everyone needs help occasionally, that's normal, but some individuals repeatedly create problems and expect others to solve them. The pattern never changes, the excuses never end, the responsibility always belongs to someone else. Helping such a person often creates dependence rather than improvement, and dependence rarely leads to growth. The second type is even harder to recognize: the person who ignores every lesson you offer. Advice. They ask for guidance. You invest time. You share experience. Nothing changes. Months pass. Years pass. The same problems return. The same conversations repeat. The same mistakes continue. At some point, helping becomes participation in a cycle rather than a solution, and that cycle carries consequences. Now, let's move closer to the breaking point. The stage where hidden costs become visible. The third type of person is the chronic taker. This individual rarely asks how you're doing, rarely offers support, rarely contributes, yet they always seem to need something. Your time, your attention, your resources. Your emotional energy. Researchers studying social relationships consistently find that healthy connections involve some degree of reciprocity, not perfect equality. But balance. Without balance, exhaustion follows, and that's exactly what happens to millions of people, especially older adults. The fourth type may surprise you: the person who enjoys being a Victim. This is not someone facing genuine hardship. Life challenges are real. Losses happen. Difficulties occur. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about someone who builds their identity around helplessness. Every solution is rejected. Every opportunity is dismissed. Every suggestion encounters resistance. Over time, helping such a person often reinforces the very behavior causing their suffering. This insight appears repeatedly throughout both ancient wisdom and modern psychology. Growth requires participation. Without participation, assistance loses its power. Now we arrive at the fifth and most dangerous type, the manipulator. This person understands generosity, but instead of appreciating it, they exploit it. They use guilt. Obligation. Fear. Or emotional pressure. At first, their requests seem reasonable. Then the requests become expectations. Soon, your kindness becomes a resource they believe they own. This is where the story reaches its turning point, because the consequences rarely appear immediately. The fallout develops slowly. Health suffers. Stress increases. Retirement savings shrink. Family relationships become strained. Sleep quality declines. Researchers have repeatedly linked chronic stress and emotionally draining relationships to negative health outcomes. Among older adults, the connection is stronger than many people realize, and yet millions continue the pattern. Why? Because of old advice that sounds noble, but often lacks wisdom. Many seniors were taught that helping everyone is always the right thing to do. That saying no is selfish. That boundaries are unkind. That sacrifice automatically equals virtue. But reality tells a different story. Lao Tzu emphasized harmony and balance. Modern psychology reaches a similar conclusion. Helping without wisdom eventually becomes harmful. Not just to you, to the other person as well. Because true help should create strength. Not dependency. True help should encourage responsibility. Not avoidance. True help should move someone forward, not keep them standing still. This is where everything connects to today. Millions of older Americans face increasing demands on their time, finances, and emotional energy. Family members need assistance. Friends seek support. Communities rely on volunteers. The desire to help remains strong, but wisdom requires discernment. Not every request deserves a yes. Not every problem belongs to you. Not every struggle can be solved through generosity alone. So, what should you do today? First, evaluate outcomes rather than intentions. Good intentions matter, but results reveal whether your help is actually helping. Second, protect your time and energy as carefully as your finances. Both become increasingly valuable with age. Third, ask a simple question before helping. Will this encourage growth, or will it reinforce dependency? And here's the warning. Research consistently suggests that chronic emotional stress can contribute to declining physical and mental well-being. Repeatedly carrying other people's responsibilities may cost more than you realize. Now consider this. What if the wisest people, not the ones who help everyone? What if they're the ones who understand exactly when helping becomes harmful? That question may reveal one of the most important life lessons of all. And in our next video, we'll explore another surprising principle that many older adults discover too late: how certain everyday habits quietly steal happiness without ever appearing dangerous. If you found value in today's lesson, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Every share helps someone discover wisdom that can improve their life. Every subscription helps us continue bringing meaningful lessons about aging, health, relationships, and personal growth. And if you're curious about the next hidden truth that could change how you live after 60, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what's coming next.